Shana Tova, Gamar Tov, Shabbat Shalom. It's amazing how quickly we go from talking out loud, so loudly, so vibrantly, to hush. We sort of know that these are our signs to chit-chat in our heads and in our minds and say, I can't wait to talk with you more during our break fast this evening or during our breaks during the day. It's wonderful to see you all this morning. We welcome you to CRJ. I'm Rabbi Rachel Jackson, joined on the bima this morning with soloist Lori Simmons by our adult choir. And Lynn, thank you for your accompaniment this morning. Thank you all again for being here. We welcome you to our Yom Kippur service. We do ask that you take this opportunity to turn off your cell phones or anything that makes noises. You'd be surprised at how loud Fitbits or Apple Watches can be when it's the only thing making sound. So feel free to put those on mute. And that goes for anyone that might be joining us online or on demand. We hope that our internet doesn't go out, but if it does, we will post this recording later. Today is generally a fast day, but our tradition tells us pekuach nefesh, which means protecting one's body, protecting one's spirit. So whatever you need to do for yourself, please do so. Nobody is judging. Nobody is going, well, I don't know, you took a sip of water. That's not what need be. And in fact, there is this response to the statement that says, if you generally drink caffeine, caffeine is a drug that impacts our bodies and we go through withdrawal if we don't have it. So it even says that if you are generally drinking caffeine, you should definitely have caffeine on Yom Kippur. It's amazing. So, and that will help you and it will help everyone around you. We know this to be true, right? So really, whatever you need to do, please take care of your body. And that includes when we do our choreography this morning, when we say, go ahead and stand, go ahead and sit. If you're not in one of those places, whether physically or emotionally, feel free to decline the invitation, as it were. This morning, we are in our machzor. Hopefully you have one of these books. Yours is significantly smaller. But we are going to go through our machzor this morning, singing songs, saying prayers together. And I encourage you to join in, to be with us as we do those things, or to take a look at all the beautiful poetry, all the beautiful readings that are inside the machzor itself, and say, this is where I'm choosing to let my mind wander. And that's okay too. There's no wrong way to be here. There's no wrong way to pray. So having said that, let us turn now to page 135. We thank you, living and eternal one, for morning light, for the breath within us, for strength and life renewed. Now it opens before us, this Sabbath of Sabbaths, gift of spacious contemplation, mirror for the soul. May we see our lives reflected in this still, clear pool, a day apart, unhurried time, and undivided mind. Give us joy in this day that Israel shares. Give us presence and attention, clear vision, and a listening heart. We wake to the morning, we open our eyes, we breathe your name. Let us sing together, page 138.
Mishkenotech Yisrael.
Page 156. Blessed are you, Holy One, who has formed the human body with wisdom. Feel free to join in. An intricate network of channels, vessels, and openings. This wondrous structure and the flow of life within us allows us to stand before you and give thanks. Let us cherish this gift of flesh and blood, honor it as God's creation. Baruch atah Adonai rofecho basar umafli la'asot. We praise you, Holy One, for wondrous acts of creation and healing.
Elohim
On page 160, let's join together in our Nisim B'chol Yom. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great powers give the mind discernment to distinguish light from darkness. You are the source of blessing, Adonai. Your great power opens the eyes that cannot see. You are the source of blessing, Adonai. Your great power brings freedom to the captive. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power lifts up the fallen. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power spreads the land upon the water. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power has made all I need. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power gives firmness to our steps. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power clothes the naked. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power gives strength to the weary. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power removes sleep from my eyes, slumber from my eyelids. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power made me in the image of God. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power endowed me with human freedom. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power has made me Israel. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power gives strength to Yisrael. You are the source of blessings, Adonai. Your great power crowns Yisrael with glory. On page 178 is our Baruch. For this, we are invited to rise. Continuing on page 185.
We proclaim you one. You are the one who unites all things, who links life to life in a sacred chain. The forest anchored in the soil, breathe air into our lungs. Our faces are reflected in the creatures of earth. We carry the sea within us. Our fate is connected to rivers and deserts, our family and many branched tree of life. All beings intertwine in you. All are encompassed in Adonai Echad. Thus no man is an island, no soul exists apart. To say Echad is to know this truth, to see the world whole, humankind undivided. Precious and holy are these words we speak. Adonai Echad, we proclaim you.
Let us proclaim these words on page 186. We may take our seat.
ואהבת את אדוני Uvaho nafshivha, uvaho meodeha, vehayu, hadvarim ha'ele, asher anohi mitzaveha, hayom alivaveha, vishiratam livaneha, vidivartam bam, vishivteha biveteha, ulefteha vaderech, ושופך ושקובך, ושרתם לאו על ידיך, והיו לטוטפו בין עיניך, וטפתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני, אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתיהם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם אלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיהם, אדוני אלוהיהם, אמן.
On page 195.
Please read with me. And they shall know that I, Adonai, am their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, that I might abide among them, I, Adonai, their God. You took us out of the darkness so that your light might dwell among us. You showed us your power to bring down the powerful, uplift the enslaved, transform the social order. You showed us your strength so that we might remember our own. We carry the Exodus vision wherever we go, lest we forget our sense of liberation, lest we lose the joy of breathing free, lest we grow indifferent and blind to others' pain. So long as we work to make you present, we walk the path of freedom. But if we forget to bring you into this world, then we return to the dark.
On page 198. The Amidah is considered a standing prayer, quite literally meaning standing. And though we have words now, though we have a structured liturgy for this, this is also the opportunity to say, what do you need? What are the prayers in your hearts? Perhaps it's the words on the page, and perhaps it's not. So when we stand and we say, what do I need this Yom Kippur? How do I move into this year of 5785? Take this opportunity to help yourself connect with yourself and perhaps with the divine to help answer those things. On page 198, you're invited to rise. Please take our seats. Page 209. Today we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Norava Ayom, unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear. For all things are judged, and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. At the start of the year, in the season of truth, comes a day of remembrance for all we forget and all we deny, and we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. The words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year in a way you don't know. Take hold of your life. Make things right while you can, and don't miss the call of the day of dread. Page 208, Onatana Toga. Page 213. Feel free to read with me. An empty page, an open book, a day of ultimate questions. Will I still be here next year at this time with the ones I love beside me? What is in store for my family, and what will become of my friends? Who will have reason to celebrate? Who will contend with grief? New love, new babies, marriages deepening or breaking apart, prosperity, struggle, reversals of fortune, illness, and health await us. Who will be missing when we gather next? Who will stand apart? Who will be estranged? And who will have joined us, enriching our community? On the edge of the unknown, we tremble. What lies ahead for all of us all? An empty page, an open book. Nothing is written and nothing is sealed. Flesh and blood, frail creatures. Our lives are fleeting and subject to chance. Yet this we possess, the strength to persist, to prevail, to comfort one another in the dark. Prayer, right action, a turning toward the good. These give us hope and help us bear the pain of life.
Rosh Hashanah, Yikatevun, Yikatevun. Berosh Yom Kippur, Yikatevun, Yikatevun. Berosh Hashanah, Yikatevun, Yikatevun. Uvyom Yom Kippur, Yikatevun, Yikatevun.
On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? who by fire and who by water, who by war and who by beast, who by famine and who by drought, who by earthquake and who by plague, who by strangling and who by stoning, who will rest and who will wander, who will be tranquil and who will be troubled, who will be calm and who will be tormented, who will live in poverty and who in prosperity, who will be humbled and who exalted.
Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun, Yikatevun. Of Yom Som Kippur Yikatevun, Yikatevun. Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun, Yikatevun. Som Kippur Yekatevun, Yekatevun.
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can descend the harshness of the decree. You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood.
Riches of God, with the
Page 217. The Spirit is not holy, nor ideals, intention, or will. To love God in the heart, to carry a spiritual thought, this is not the holy way. Holiness resides in deeds alone. Only these are our task in this world. But to act without thought is empty, a mechanical rite without soul. Consciousness and action, matter and spirit, all unite in a mitzvah mindfully performed. We change the world, not through our dreams, but through the way we consume, do our work, make Shabbat, give to one another. Were we angels, pure, disembodied souls, we would not need the discipline of deeds. Were we animals, pure instinct and drive, we could not rise to touch the sacred. To join body and mind, to live our ideals, to serve in the fullness of our humanity. This is the challenge of holy living. This leads us to this prayer of Kedushah, of Lador Vador. We are here at synagogue because we're drawn here. They say that we were all at Mount Sinai, and here we are, continuing the chain of tradition in a society that moves around a lot. Having 2 generations in a single place is unusual, let alone 3, and 4 is almost unfathomable. So for our prayer here, this Lador Vador prayer, I would like to try something this morning. If you are part of 3 generations at CRJ, even if not all 3 generations are in the room at this moment, will you please stand up? Wow is right. I heard someone say. Look around. This is what built this synagogue. And if you are 2 generations in CRJ, please stand up. We thank you all for continuing this tradition. And for us, perhaps those of us not yet standing, we recognize that because we are here today, whether through family or through community, we are standing in tradition. We are standing and put ourselves as part of this chain, this L'Ador Vador. So if you are here today, please stand up. Because somewhere it started. For maybe it was you 3 generations ago, maybe it was 2, maybe this is you, and it starts there. But now look around and see that it is because of all of us that we will continue L'Ador Vador. So let us sing together. I'm sorry the words are not in our book, but I think many of us know this one.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. L'Ador Vador, Na'iko Lecha. L'Ador Vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'Ador Vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. L'Ador Vador, Na'iko Lecha. L'Ador Vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'Ador Vador, these lips will praise your name. L'Ador Vador, Na'iko Lecha. L'Ador Vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'Ador Vador, these lips will praise your name.
Let us take our seat. Page 241. It is a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea, how the chair stands sturdy and 4 square, how the floor receives the bottom of shoes or toes, how soles of feet know where they're supposed to be. I've been thinking about the patience of ordinary things, how clothes wait respectfully in closets, and soap dries quickly, quietly in the dish, and towels drink the wet from the skin of the back, and the lovely repetition of stairs. What is more generous than a window? Finding love in ordinary things. Let us now turn to page 246 as we sing together Sim Shalom.
Sim Shalom Tova
Bracha, Chema, Chesed, Rachamim, Aleinu Le'akol Yisrael Amecha, Ve'yakol Ha'amim. Sim Shalom Tova Bracha, Chema, Chesed, Rachamim, Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Amecha, Ve'akol Rachamim.
Barchinu Avinu, Kulanu ke'echad bi'or panecha, Ki be'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torah chayim v'avad hesed, Utzedaka uvracha v'rachamim, v'chaim v'shalom.
Sim Shalom Tova Bracha, Chema, Chesed, Rachamim, Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Amecha, Ve'akol Ha'amim.
V'tov, v'tov be'einecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael, ve'et kol ha'amim, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך.
Sim Shalom Tova Bracha, Chema, Chesed, Rachamim, Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Amecha, Ve'akol Ha'amim.
B'sefer Chayim, b'racha v'shalom, u'farnasa tova, nizacher v'nikatev lefanecha. Anachnu v'chol amcha beit Yisrael, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
For all the words that we said, perhaps there's some words left unspoken or thoughts left unfelt. Let us take now a moment for silent prayer. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. We read these words from Torah this morning, and it also happens to be one of my favorite partial verses. Today, I am going to focus on l'reacha, your neighbor. Today's neighbor could truly be any one of us. Now, before I begin, I'm going to give an asterisk to my own sermon. On social media, you might have seen the term content warning. I have gone back and forth on whether or not to do that today. But what I'm going to talk about can be a very emotional topic. Our topic this morning will be about bodily autonomy and all that it entails. And everyone needs to take care of their own hearts. When we talk about things that crash into us, we're responsible for loving ourselves and for doing what we need to do. So if at any point you need to leave, I do not take it personally. And I am also here if at any point you want to talk to me about what I say. Please feel free to do so. During Purim and next month, CRJ is going to host a blood drive. I'm not sure how many of you gave at that point or are planning to do so, but I know that my 56-day cycle did not align with Purim, but I hope to give in November. You heard that correct. 56 days. That is how often a person can give 10% of their entire blood supply. How cool is that? I mean, truly, that our bodies produce enough blood that we can lose 10%. And not only that, but it replenishes fast enough for us to give it away every other month. Think about what else happens, 10%. Certainly not food, not income, nothing tangible, but our bodies, our blood supply, incredible. So why is there a blood shortage? Why don't people donate all the time? Now, we do recognize that there are lots of exceptions for health, for travel, for precaution, for some outdated rules that would need their own sermon. Seriously. But even taking all of that into account, there's no reason to have a short supply, except that people don't donate for their own reasons, some good and some less good. The most common excuse being there's just not enough time, which is about an hour for whole blood. 1 hour every 2 months. Tell me that you don't have 6 hours this year. So now let me ask you this. How many of us are registered organ donors? When we die, the excuse of not having time totally vanishes, stating the obvious. So why would not all of us be organ donors? Let the doctors decide if our organs and tissues are healthy enough to transplant. Thousands of lives could be made better or saved by this gift. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. Here we can see how we would feel if we were on the receiving end of these donations. Maybe that love of neighbor can inspire us to be a donor. However, our law does not force us to save lives, even after we have died. This law allows suffering to continue needlessly, some say. We have so many cures, and yet we don't conscript any of these donations. It does no harm to donate blood, and it does minimal and fully repairable injury to donate bone marrow. And it takes literally nothing to give organs and tissues after death. But our government, our society, has decided that what a person does with their body is completely up to them. Unless that body has a potentially productive uterus. And then the phrase body autonomy is meaningless. Less than 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade was fought and won at the Supreme Court. And that ruling gave women the legal ability and access to abortion until the fetus was 24 weeks gestation. Access has certainly been a point of contention these last few decades as more and more clinics were shuttered, but only in the South and the Midwest. The Northeast and West part of our country actually added clinics in the last decade. The total in our entire country is 850. That's it. There are thousands of McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts, but 850 safe clinics. Places where there is low access to affordable health care, coupled with places of high poverty and low-income housing, saw a marked decrease to access to clinics. In these same regions, laws restricting and suffocating the Supreme Court ruling have gone into effect. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio, Louisiana, Kentucky, and Florida, just to name a few. They have these laws which reduce the definition of a life to a false heartbeat. The most egregious and heinous of these laws was recently enacted in our own state of Florida. This new law makes abortions illegal after 6 weeks gestation, a time frame in which most people don't even know that they are pregnant. This law makes an exception for incest or rape, but only after a lot of red tape. This law requires a person to come to a clinic twice, separated by more than 24 hours, in order to seek an abortion prior to 6 weeks. Is this really how we love our neighbor? Years ago, our medical community moved away from defining life as a heartbeat. We've moved away from that and moved into brain waves as being part of the decision if a person is still alive, except for fetuses. There is a medical definition of life and a halakhic Jewish definition, and they differ, and they should. One is religious and has no place in the law, and the other is medical. In Jewish religious thought, life is defined as breath. This morning we sang Elohai Neshama, breath, life, not heartbeat, and frankly, not even brain activity. That's for the medical community. We read in Genesis 2:7, God breathed life into man, saying, and then Adonai formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Even that final word, soul, nefesh, can be translated as breath. So to say that on religious grounds, not this religion, these laws should not stand. Not only that, but our tradition also has centuries-old precedents for bodily autonomy. The Shulchan Aruch from hundreds of years ago tells us a woman who was pregnant, whether or not that pregnancy resulted in bringing forth life, is the only capable judge of her own needs. Even if she contradicts her doctors, her exclusively male doctors at the time, I add, she is the best judge of her own conditions. If she says she wants to eat or drink, listen to her and bring her food, even on Yom Kippur. Even on Yom Kippur. A person knows what they need, not someone else telling them what their body needs. Today is the Sabbath of Sabbaths. Today is a day where we have traditionally sat in the synagogue and prayed all day, a day for God. And yet it says, Even on Yom Kippur, the holiest of holy days is secondary to what a person themselves know what they need. This law is here for now, and the rest of the country is watching. Every one of us ought to be outraged by this law and those which are surely to follow it. Ve'ahavta l'oreacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. Loving your neighbor means treating them with respect. This law makes your neighbor's body not their own. Such a way is not how any of us would treat ourselves, having our bodily ripped from us in difficult times. Because believe me, any person contemplating an abortion is having a difficult time. They're not casually going through their very limited options. No situation is the same. No decision is the same, even if it looks that way to the outsider. Your neighbor who went in for her 13-week ultrasound to find out that the fetus had no brain and wouldn't survive outside the womb, but would continue to grow until that time. That every day she carried it in her uterus was another day closer to its death. Having to face all of those looks and all the congratulations and all the agony. Love that neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor, the transgendered man who has struggled his entire life to be recognized as the man he is, suffering from body dysmorphia to such an extreme that suicide seemed the only way out. And then he discovered gender affirmation surgery. During his transition, he was raped by transphobic men and became pregnant. And he would rather die than carry this fetus to term. Love that neighbor as you love yourself. Your neighbor, the one whose husband doesn't believe in birth control, struggling to make ends meet with 4 children, and one more mouth to feed would mean that they would surely be on the streets. Love that neighbor as yourself. This last person, she's your neighbor too. She is also your rabbi. And this is part of my story. I was the 18-year-old, unwed college sophomore in a meaningless and deeply unhealthy relationship. And I got pregnant despite using birth control. All dreams would be gone, and I would forever be tied to a person who was not good in my life. And I was kind and smart and driven and so scared. I was just a child. I gathered all the information I could, and then I cried because I didn't know what to do. I screamed and I prayed and I cried. I filled out the paperwork and I cried. Alone, I went into the clinic room and I cried. The nurse held my hand as I cried and wept into the nurse's full bosom as the doctor performed the D&C. I was there alone on the table and I cried. A week later, I cried in the hospital because the bleeding wouldn't stop. And 14 years later, when I found out that I was pregnant again with a baby that I so wanted, I cried. When I wrote this story down, I cried then too. Because I've never told this story. And I'm sharing my story today because I love myself as I love my neighbor. And that love my neighbor as I love myself. And I'm sharing my story because you need to know that if it took me over 20 years to tell it, you have countless neighbors and friends and family who have a story. Perhaps you have a story. Ve'ahavta l'oreacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. We must protect and fight for the rights of all people to have control over their own bodies. We must allow individuals to make their own choices. As religiously liberal Jews, we believe in personal autonomy. We believe in giving people authority over themselves. We believe that this right is extended to all peoples. And we believe in standing up for what is right. Rabbi Hillel from Pirkei Avot from 2,000 years ago told us that if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? If not now, when? I must speak for myself. Time to break the silence. But I do not speak for myself alone. I speak for the millions of people who are still silent. I speak for the millions more who are scared and worried and desperate and heartbroken. And I speak now because I can no longer witness the dismantling of our rights any longer. As we have said many times before, love, ve'ahavta, is a verb, an action word. And if you want to love your neighbor, there are ways to do that. If you have money, donate it to organizations. If you have a large social network, or frankly, any social network, direct people to reputable sites. And if you have a phone, call people and stand up for what is all our rights. And if anyone ever again tries to argue that abortion restrictions are under the prerogative of religious freedom, remember that our religious freedom as a Jew in this country demands that we have access to safe health care, including abortion, whenever we need it. Our religious freedom demands that we honor a person's bodily autonomy. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Body autonomy and breaking our silence, giving people the permission to break theirs. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. May this coming year of 5785 remind us to love. May it inspire to love ourselves. May it encourage us to love our neighbors. May this year be one of health, of peace, and of broken silences. Can you hear Ratzon? May all this be true. That's a first for me. As we stand in front of an open ark, let us feel all of those things that bring us into 5785. Let us turn back to our machzor, page 252. Avinu Malkeinu. As I mentioned, this is said in front of an open ark. Please rise. Feel free to join with me in the English. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our prayer. Treat us with tender compassion. We sing our final verse.
Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aleinu, ki emanu ma'asim, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aleinu, ki emanu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'Aleinu, ki emanu ma'asim.
Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a meditation to remind us what we strive for, a chant that binds us to the chain of generations. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, a moment of purest solidarity with our people's hopes and history, an invitation to affirm or dissent, to challenge or believe, to ask why or say amen. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, flowing like waters that renew the spirit, refreshing and sweet to nourish the soul. Let the reading of Torah be like prayer, every word a blessing, every verse a conversation with God.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai oz lamo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiva v'irtzonecha et Zion. Tivnech omot Yerushalayim, ki becha levad batachnu. V'chata avinaki. Adonai, Adonai, Irachum v'chanun, Erech Alpayim, V'rav chesed ve'emet. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh v'norah Shemo. Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'haneitzach v'hahod. Ki hu b'shamayim uvaretz, ki hu b'shamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamidbar.
I gotta say, I love that our Torah service, right, so we bring 2 Torahs out, otherwise one that exhausts one person and takes 3 times as long, not twice as long, but it would take 3 times as long to get to everybody. I love how it sort of, at this point in the morning, sort of gets us going. We're like, oh yes, we're clapping and we're excited, because I know that for us, well, I shouldn't say us, I'm no longer us, for the Jew in the pew, you've been sitting for a while, and so that I just love where that's placed. It's really the apex of our service, and so we do have the opportunity to read from Torah this morning in our Machzor. We are reading from Nitzavim, which is on page 266. If you want to follow along in Hebrew or in the English, you're welcome to do so. And we have the opportunity to have a couple of readers this morning. And so I'm going to call up all of our readers first. Na la'amod aviva Shlomit bat Fishel ven Penina, vegam Sarah Rivka bat Gitzach vechudit, vegam Harav Yelana Rachel bat Ruya vekarel, likra leTorah. And now the honor of blessing the reading. I'm going to take just 2 seconds to do this. We don't usually get to even acknowledge the people that are reading. That's sort of our tradition's like, oh yeah, and chopped liver back here. They're going to do the hard part, but we're not going to say anything about them. Because our tradition says, well, everyone should be able to have a blessing. Everyone should be able to get to a point of reading Torah, of having the honor of being in front of Torah, and that's the aliyah. That's the honor. And for them, we give a full aliyah, a full name calling, the kind name calling, not the negative name calling, just to clarify that. Because everyone can do an aliyah. That's the goal, because it's the same thing, no matter what, as opposed to reading Torah. Well, it changes, because Torah is a fairly large book, but an aliyah is 1 paragraph. And so I share this because this is something that I encourage each one of you to know how to do and to want to do it. It is something that one of my visions for 5790, right, we're 5785 now, 5790 is that we will have a congregation that can do aliyot and read Torah. So I'm just planting that little seed now. Na la'amod Yitzchaka bat Levi v'Tzvia v'gam Chana bat Eliezer v'Sarah le'aliyah leTorah. These 2 wonderful women teach our B'nai Mitzvah students.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem roshechem shivtechem ziknechem v'shotrechem kol ish Yisrael tapchem nishechem v'gercha asher b'kerev machanecha mechotev etzecha ad shoev memeyecha Le'avrecha bivrit Adonai Elohecha uvalato asher Adonai Elohecha poret imcha hayom Lima'an hakim otcha. Hayom lo le'am v'hu yiyelach le'elohim ka'asher diber lach v'ka'asher nishba la'avotecha la'avraham li'yitzchak u'li'yaakov v'lo etchem livadachem anochi koret et habrit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot Ki et asher yeshno po imanu omed hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher einenu po imanu hayom.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Good choreography. A lot of good choreography. Na la'amod Avshalom ben Ruchel ben Ruvain v'gam Shlomo ben Lebel u'Miriam Margalit le'aliyah le'Torah. So first we have our tutors, and now we have our students. I don't know where to put the microphone, gentlemen.
Adonai
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anochi metzavecha hayom lo niflati mimcha velo rechoka hi lo vashamayim hi lemor miya'ale lanu hashamayma vayikache halanu vayishmi'enu otsa venasena velo me'ever layam hi lemor mi'aver lanu el ever hayam vayikache halanu vayishmi'enu ota venasena Ki karov elecha hadavar me'od beficha uvilvavcha lasoto.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Na לעמוד אליהו בן יהושע צבי וגם יוכבד וגם אסתר בת משה ופרה וגם יבין לעלייה לתורה. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
המוות ואת הרע, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו ומשפטיו. וחיית ורבית, וברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ, אשר אתה ושמה לרשתה. ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע, ונידחת, והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועבדתם. הגעתי לכם היום, כי יבוא טוב עדון, לא תאריכון ימים על האדמה, אשר אתה עובר את הירדן, לבוא שמה לרשתה. העיד אותי בכם היום, את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה. ובחרת בחיים, למען תהיה אתה וזרעך, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו ולדבקו. כי הוא חייך ואורך ימיך, לשבת על האדמה, אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
We thank all of our blessers and all of our readers this morning for showing us, stretching us a little bit this morning and bringing us Torah. Thank you all. You can all be seated. With our Torah in our midst, we take these blessings. We take these blessings of Torah, we take the blessings of our heart, and we also think about those that are in need of a healing, those that are in need of prayers. Excuse me. On page 273. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avotenu, Mishaberach Yemotenu. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage. Give us faith. Show us the way. For all those who are in need of healing, body, mind, spirit, or whatever weight holds you down, let's chant a short Misha Berach now for all of them.
Tenu v'imotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachav, v'Leah, Hu Yivarech et hacholim.
May those in need of healing find it in a time near to us. On page 274, I'll use this also as a tiny teaching moment. The Torah is heavy. That's both the literal and a figurative statement. And so we also are commanded to look at Torah, to see Torah. And so our tradition has us physically lifting up the Torah so that everyone can see it. We call it Hagba. And you actually can't see it because the writing is small and you're all the way out there. But we envision and we picture this. But it's heavy. And so for anyone that's wearing a talit, the idea is that you also take your tzitzit and your pinky finger and you help lift it. Right? So if you've ever seen that tradition of people going like this when the Torah is lifted, this is why, because you're helping lift the Torah. If you don't have a talit on, you can still do that too. You can use yourself and lift up the Torah. So we're gonna do that, and then when we lift the Torah, we dress it, and so we're gonna sing these songs. And when the Torah is lifted, it is though also that we lift ourselves. So you're invited to rise.
Zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael api Adonai bi'ad Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
Page 291.
It's Chaim hi u'makazikim ba v'tomheha me'ushar derachecha darkei noam v'chol netivotecha shalom. Hashiveinu Adonai
Let us take our seats. Page 292. Feel free to join in reading. We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. Shema kolenu, Adonai, hear our call. True sacrifice to God is a penitent spirit. You treasure a crushed and repentant heart. For you are close to the brokenhearted, and you give strength to the suffering soul. You are the healer of shattered hearts. You are the one who binds up their wounds. For thus says the high and exalted one, who lives forever, whose name is holy. I dwell in a high and holy place, but also with the downcast and lowly, to bring new life to despondent souls, to restore and revive repentant hearts. Return now, Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to God. Ask the Eternal, forgive what is wrong, accept what is good. We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. We set before you the wrongs we have done. We trust in your compassion, for you know who we are. Shema kolenu, Adonai, hear our call.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hu merachem aleinu, v'kabel rachamim u'ratzon, et tefillatenu. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hu merachem aleinu, v'kabel rachamim u'ratzon, et tefillatenu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha b'nashuva, Chadesh yameinu ke'edem. Hashivenu Adonai elecha b'nashuva, Chadesh yameinu ke'edem.
Page 296. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Please rise for our Vizui Zuta.
Ay, 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 ay. Ashavnu, v'ganu, gazamnu, dibarnu dofi. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay,
Let us take our seats. Page 301. Let us join together. I need to speak these words aloud and to know that the universe hears them. I get caught in old patterns and paradigms. I'm stubborn and hard-headed. In the last year, I have missed the mark more than I want to admit. Forgive me, source of all being, for the sin I have sinned before you, by allowing my body to be an afterthought too often and too easily, by not running, walking, leaping, climbing, or dancing, although I am able, by eating in my car and at my desk, mindlessly and without blessing, by not embracing those who need it and not allowing myself to be embraced, by not praising everybody's beauty with our quirks and imperfections, by letting my emotions run roughshed over the needs of others, by poking at sources of hurt like a child worrying a sore tooth, by revealing my heart before those who neither wanted nor needed to see it, by hiding love out of fear of rejection instead of giving love freely, by dwelling on what's internal when the world is desperate for healing, by indulging in intellectual argument without humility or consideration, by reading words of vitriol, cultivating hot indignation, by eschewing intellectual discomfort that might prod me into growing, by living in anticipation and letting anxiety rule me, by accepting defeatist thinking and the comfortable ache of despair, by not being awake and grateful despite uncountable blessings, by not being sufficiently gentle with my actions or with my language, by not being pliant and flexible, but obstinate, stark, and unbending, by not being generous with my time, with my words, or with my being, by not being kind to everyone who crosses my wandering path. For all these, source of forgiveness, help me to know myself to be pardoned. Help me feel in my bones that I am forgiven. Remind me that I'm always already at one with you. As I mentioned last night, I too am guilty of making Yom Kippur only about these viduis, this ve'al kulam, this pounding our chest. But our Machzor gives us the opportunity to also hold up the mirror and say, wow, look how good we did this year. We are not just here to beat our chests out of sadness or out of sinning, but let us also pat ourselves on the back and hold both of those equally. So let's turn to page 313. And let us read this together as well. Let us affirm the good we have done. Let us acknowledge our acts of healing and repair. For the good we have done by acting with self-restraint and self-control. For the good we have done through acts of generosity and compassion. For the good we have done by offering children our love and support. For the good we have done by honoring our parents with care and respect. For the good we have done through acts of friendship and hospitality. For the good we have done through acts of forgiveness and reconciliation. For the good we have done by keeping promises and honoring commitments. for the good we have done through the work of our hands and by serving others, for the good we have done by caring for the earth and sustaining its creatures, for the good we have done by housing the homeless, feeding the hungry, and welcoming the stranger, for the good we have done by acting with integrity and honesty, for the good we have done through thoughtful and encouraging words, for the good we have done by caring for our health and that of our loved ones, for the good we have done by strengthening our Jewish community, for the good we have done through acts of civic engagement and tikkun olam. All these have brought light and healing into the world. May these acts inspire us to renew our efforts in the year to come. As I mentioned at the start of our service this morning, there is no official end to today. But I just wanted to give a little taste of what we have. It is in our program, which I don't have one, but you all probably do. At 1 o'clock, we have our family service in the sanctuary. Anyone is welcome. You don't have to have children to come to that. But if that's not quite your speed, we also have Gary Becker leading a discussion in the multi-purpose room at 1 o'clock. At 2:30, also in the multi-purpose room, we'll be having just a sort of calm, meditative service with some gentle readings and some violin music. At 4 o'clock back here in our sanctuary, we will have our healing and afternoon service. 5 o'clock ish will be Yizkor, and ish at 6 o'clock will be our Ne'ilah. I hope that whatever happens for you today, it is meaningful and powerful and carries you through into the coming year. So Lois Laurie and I will be over by our display case to greet you this morning. Shana Tova.